All right, guys, so today was a day that was very much anticipated just because we knew that today was the day that roster claims went through. Last night, I spoke to you guys during a live stream breaking down the current 53-man roster. We knew that there were going to probably be at least 3 moves that were made. The Jaguars actually made 5 different moves. So that means that since I talked to you guys last night, 9.4% of this roster has turned over in a span of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what happened. First, we'll talk about the guys that the Jaguars waived. The Jaguars waived outside linebacker Jameer Jones, also safety Josh Thompson. Both of those guys were undrafted free agents. They also wound up waiving kicker James Mccourt, who had a very good preseason. He was 15 of 15 during joint practices with the Falcons, and then he was 2 for 2 in the preseason game. So that one was a little bit questionable as to why they did that when it looked like he was near basically perfect, at least in front of the media and Jaguars fans that were able to see him. So that one was interesting. The Jaguars also kicked Jake Verita, who was very much expected to be cut. And also the Jaguars waived Will Richardson, who had a little bit of an injury, but he's been on the roster since, I believe it's been 2018. He's been around for a while. Just been a backup guy, but the Jaguars did finally cut ties with him as he's more of a fringe roster guy who's probably held around a little bit too long for the Jaguars. Now, when it comes to Jaguars that were potentially claimed by other teams, the only player that was claimed by another team was defensive tackle Jay Tufele, who was claimed by Cincinnati. Just a disappointing Jaguars career after the Jaguars spent the number 1 pick in the 4th round on him, and he just didn't materialize too much. He was pretty awful in the preseason when, look, he had all the opportunity to. They cut Malcolm Brown, so the job was him and Devon Hamilton to take, and he just looked lost out there, didn't have a lot of good situational awareness when it comes to just being a football player, and he is gone. So we'll see how he does over in Cincinnati. But, being the Jaguars took him in the 4th round, other teams probably had him pretty high. So they're looking to kind of take advantage of what the Jaguars threw away. So that's a good thing, though. Only 1 player claimed. That means guys that we might want to keep an eye on, whether it be Jeff Cotton Jr. or Kevin Austin will get a chance at the practice squad. Even some veterans like Laquan Treadwell that we may want to stash and call up if there's ever a receiver injury. Guys like that will be available if we want to sign them on our practice squad. Now, let's go ahead and go over the claims that the Jaguars made. We'll start with linebacker Ty Summers. He was claimed from the Packers. He's 26 years old, that's actually the oldest player we claimed was at age 26. So that one is interesting because you can tell the Jaguars are still trying to go youth here and have players that they can build up to be potentially good, great, whatever you want to call it. And he went to TCU. Now, he was drafted in 2019, but he doesn't have a lot of defensive stats. He's just been kind of like a special teams guy. Has I think he has 50-something tackles on special teams. So he's just going to be like a core special teams guy. He'll be out there on, punt return, punt, kick return, kickoff, that type of thing. So that's what that move is made, mainly to bring in a solid special teamer. Next one is running back Jamichael Hastie. He is from San Francisco, 25 years old, went to Baylor, so a couple of Big 12 guys that we brought in here. He's going into his 3rd NFL season. He has 55 touches for 216 yards with 1 touchdown. Actually, I probably wrote that one down. I just had touchdown, so I think I wrote down a touchdown number wrong, but he has at least 1 touchdown, I'll say that. And he's primarily a 3rd down back, which is exactly what the Jaguars need. I wanted somebody that, I don't want an ancient guy, but I want someone with some experience because, if we're in a bind and we have to play Snoop Conner or we have to play another running back outside of ETN and James Robinson for some reason, I don't want to throw Snoop Conner out there and have him miss a linebacker blitzing and have Trevor Lawrence get the crap hit out of him. You know what I mean? So bringing in a guy that's been playing on 3rd down situations, then go out there and help protect Trevor Lawrence when he needs to be protected and just be kind of that role player. I think that's a good thing to do. And I imagine he's probably going to be, the Jaguars have 4 running backs. If 3 of them are active on game days, I would imagine Hastie is going to be the guy that they, keep active so they can keep kind of training Snoop Conner a little bit. So I know he's, a lot of people like him as the signing. And 49ers, of course, they're weird running backs. I was actually reading what a lot of San Francisco fans were saying. A lot of them were unhappy about this. They wanted them to probably cut Trey Sermon, but the 49ers invested a 3rd-round pick in Trey Sermon just a year ago. So, they probably say, okay, this guy, you guys know how people do draft picks, man. If you're a draft pick by the regime, you automatically have the nod over. Even if somebody's one step ahead of you, you're probably getting the nod just to save the draft pick. And, they saw so much potential in you, so they want to keep you around for that reason. So, Jamichael Hastie will be a Jaguar. So, welcome to Duval. Next up is safety Tyree Gillespie. We claimed him from Tennessee Titans. He's 23 years old, played college at Missouri. Now, he was a 4th-round pick in 2021 by the Raiders before getting traded over to the Titans. So, similar to us, we had Jay Tufele in 2021, and the Raiders had Tyree Gillespie in 2021, and both 4th-round picks. Both didn't work out, so now he finds his way over to the Jaguars. He's at perfect size for a safety, 6 foot, 207 pounds. He'll be the backup to Rayshon Jenkins. And he's probably just a little bit more ready than a safety Josh Thompson is. And I imagine he's going to be mostly a special teams guy as well. A lot of these guys are depth pieces. He has a little bit of experience. So, another kind of special teams move. Now, the 4th one, Kendrick Pryor. He's a wide receiver from Cincinnati, 24 years old. He played college football at Wisconsin. This is one that the Jaguars were looking at a lot of wide receivers, at least Jaguars fans were, whether it be Preston Williams or Johnson, who was out of Tampa, who actually wound up over there for the Houston Texans. He was one that we were looking at. He was actually an undrafted rookie free agent this year. And he's 5'11", 187 pounds. Actually, I saw a tweet that him and another guy were actually signing onto the practice squad. They were literally signing the papers to be on the Cincinnati practice squad. A staff member came up, tapped him on the shoulder, and said, "Hey, you've been claimed by the Jags." So he started trying to figure out flight information when it comes to getting over to Jacksonville. Must be a strange feeling. You're going through. You're with a team for so long, they just announced they cut you. You're over here, and it's like, oh yeah, this random team just signed you, and you don't know anybody. You're just like, all right, I guess I'm on this team. It must be an interesting experience for them. A wild few days, but he had a really productive preseason. His most productive one was against the Cardinals, where he had 4 reception, 89 yards, and a touchdown. During the whole preseason, he actually led the Cincinnati Bengals in receiving yards with 182 receiving yards. So he was pretty active during the preseason. So we'll see if the Jaguars can kind of develop him into a good functioning piece of the team. Now, lastly is kicker Riley Patterson. We claimed him from Detroit. He's 22 years old, and he played college ball at Memphis. Now, this is one that, we all said, McCourt's our guy. McCourt is in session. He's no longer on the team. They went a little bit younger, but Riley Patterson still seems to be a good, solid option. He was 13 of 14 last year on field goals. His long was 49 yards. Also has a good touchback percentage. This is one, look, kicker is far from solidified. We just got to hope that this guy, because, these guys, it's like they have one uniform and they switch to another team's uniform, and they could be a whole different kicker, whether good or bad. So hopefully Riley Patterson comes in here and kills it for us. He makes all his field goals. We're not sitting here nervous every time he comes up to kick, because we know that feeling. We've really had that the last 2 years. It's nice when you have a good Josh Lambo and a good Josh Scobie, when you're going to, pretty much hit all these field goals. But hey, 13 of 14 last year, I'll take that right now. Like, sign me up for that right now, So we'll see how Riley Patterson does. But for now, this is our kicker situation. We've had like 5 or 6 different kickers in here in the last month. So the Jaguars, imagine if Patterson doesn't work out, maybe they go out and find, bring Mccourt back. I don't know. we'll just kind of see on that. So yeah, the Jaguars make 5 different roster moves. These were kind of out of nowhere. A lot of these, I don't think any of these guys were on the short list of players that Jags fans were wanting or were looking at. I know the running back from the Bills was the guy that we were looking for. I know there were just a few different pieces that the Jaguars were, that Jaguar fans were looking for, but they don't wind up really getting any of them. But there were some people coming at me on Twitter like, oh, the Jags being trash again. Look, if you're out there, if you're super upset about what the Jaguars did, just know this. If roster spots 49 through 53, if you think those spots are going to make or break your franchise, then we're in a weird time. We're in a weird time period. Look, these guys are, probably most of these guys are going to be inactive on game day. This is the end of the roster, guys, okay? So, like you see, they're all young, so maybe, you know how coaches do. Oh, we'll bring him in here, we'll coach him up, he'll be great. But, yeah, this is rosters and teams are not, this isn't fantasy football. The waiver wire isn't going to win you your league. It's the same way with this. So, yeah, I'm glad the Jaguars were at least aggressive last year. Reports were that Urban Meyer was too afraid to use the waiver wire, so they went out there. They only made one addition, and that's signing like Tyrell Johnson or whatever that guy's name was. Very, very forgettable name. As we brought him over from the Chargers, everybody said he was going to be amazing, and he didn't do anything, and now he's practice squatting somewhere. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about these roster moves. We're, 11 days from the regular season, from the Jaguars kicking off the season. It's exciting. I know we all have fantasy drafts coming up. Exciting time, guys. Exciting time. Hang in there. And I'll keep you guys updated with all the latest Jaguars news as we are in this together. Win, lose, whatever, I'll be here. You guys will be here. And we're Jaguar fans. Duval till we die. Drop a like on your way out. Go Jags.
Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars. Too much for your crew to handle. Keep it lit. And this is the #1 YouTube channel by UCF Jaguar. Yeah, we about to blast off. If you've been a fan, then this is the dopest platform. Yeah, never hold back. Gotta represent for the teal and black.